morning, everybody.
Morning, Rabbi.
This week's parsha is Vayikra. Vayikra starts off with all the laws of the sacrifices that we had the obligation, and some of them were like a way to connect to God, for forgiveness, to connect to God if we had to say thank you, to connect to God, to elevate ourselves. So many different types of sacrifices. Each one represents a whole world in itself. So there is, in this week's parsha, it starts off, Adam ki yakriv mekem, a person that will bring forth from yourselves. And there's a very famous Hasidic interpretation from the Alter Rebbe that he explains that Adam ki yakriv, that a person wants to come close, mikem, you got to give something from yourself. You got to give away something. If you want to come close to Hashem, you have to give away something from yourself. There's something I'm giving up and I'm sacrificing to God. Mina behema, from the animal. What does it mean from the animal? From our animal side. We have an animalistic side, we have a godly side. We have a soul and we have a body. The soul is spiritual. The body is, in a sense, represents the animalistic world. So when I wanted something from God, or I want to come closer to God, we have to give something up. There's something I have to sacrifice. You know what? This is something that I'm going to do less, or I'll do more of what Hashem wants, even though it's hard. There's another interpretation from the AlShaf. The AlShaf was a great rabbi that lived in the early 1500s, passed away at the end of 1500s, called, Ben says, AlShaf HaKadosh. So I heard a wonderful story first I'm going to say about him, and then we'll say his pshat. The AlShaf got married at a very, very young age. And he used to start learning 3 o'clock in the morning. So his wife, she wanted to make sure he's okay, so she would get up 3 o'clock in the morning every morning, and she would prepare for him a cup of tea. Like this, when he's learning, he has, unfortunately she passed away very young. Within the year, or 2 years, or 3 years, whatever it was. So the AlShaf he continued to learn, but there was nobody to bring him tea. So his mother felt bad for him. So she decided she'll do it. So she started to bring tea for him in the morning. But 3 o'clock in the morning, after a month or two, it gets to you. So she decided it's not for her, but she wanted to make sure her son's okay. So she went and she hired, there was a baker, Uber Eats, yeah? There was a baker not too far away. So she asked the baker if his daughter can bring it and she'll pay him for it. So she said, okay, for a couple of dollars, she'll do it. So she went and she prepared the hot water and she brought it to his room, to his place where he's learning, and she left. The AlShaf, after that morning or that night, he goes to his mother and he asks his mother, who prepared the water for me today? She says, why you ask? He said, I know it wasn't you. I want to know who it was. She says, what's the difference? She said, I want to know who it was. She says, I'll tell you the truth. I'll be honest with you. I don't have the capabilities of getting up like this. It's a little. So I hired somebody. Who was it? The baker's daughter. So he goes to the house of the baker. He knocks on the door. Baker opens the door, or somebody opens the door and he says, I want to speak to the daughter. Okay. He asks her, did you fill up the water for me today? She says, yes, I was hired. No problem doing it. He says, I have a question for you. Why did you fill up 2 cups of water? She says, common courtesy. I saw you sitting with somebody and decided I'll give you and for the person next to you. So he says, if you were able to see who's sitting next to me, I want to marry you. He was learning with Eliyahu Navi. His mother didn't see it and his first wife didn't see it. This is the AlShaf, just to show you what the AlShaf is. So the AlShaf says, Adam ki yakriv mekem. It's pretty sharp. He says something pretty sharp. We should think about this. A person has to give up from himself. From the din, by law, according to what God, the way he set up the world, when a person does something wrong and we made a Vayikra, that's it. It's over. Party game is over. We had to put our own flesh and blood on the sacrifice. We on the altar. It was ready. That's it. Our life is over. But this is the pasuk says that you can put a behema, you can put an animal instead. Hashem gave us courtesy. Hashem gave us a chance to redeem ourselves by offering a carbon. That a person really should know it's really you. It's really us that had to be on the altar. And that's why anytime something happens, or there's a carbon that a person has to give, you should know this. You should be mindful. You should understand that we have to really change it in. We have to really, it's going instead of us. So if a person's doing tshuva, okay, I'm doing tshuva, Hashem, you should know really I have to pay with my life. And I'm begging from Hashem to redeem me and to give me that opportunity to save me, and that I know that Hashem is saving my life. If you know Hashem is saving your life and He's forgiving you, really you have to pay with your life, you would feel on such a different response, such a different level, that you know what, Hashem is giving me everything right now. I want to give back to Hashem whatever I can. It's a different level of tshuva. It's a different level of offering a sacrifice. Knowing what was really supposed to be. What you were really supposed to pay. What really was supposed to be happening. So this is what the AlShaf says. I guess he saw things on a much deeper level. So Hashem should help. We should be inspired to understand that we have the opportunity to do things for God. To give up a little bit. You're giving up a little bit of your comfort zone for Hashem. You're really cashing in. The value that you're cashing in for that is, in a sense, you're trading in the value of your life. That this is, I'm getting back my life. I'm getting back my opportunity to do things. So we should be inspired. We should understand the great opportunity we have, and we should be zoicha to all the blessings, all the connections that a carbon has. B'karev mamish. Amen.